Welcome to KNC Sales Tech Talk for sales professionals seeking to amplify the result with technology. I'm Carla Rodriguez.
And I'm Kelly Goss, and we are CRM and sales automation experts, and we're going to help you to demystify complex sales technologies. Now, in the last episode, we had our guest, Eric, talking about all of his processes and how he runs his business at the moment. Now, today, we're actually going to expand on that, and we're going to look at those processes in a little bit more detail and see how we can translate that into you using Pipedrive. So what do you think about that, Eric? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm super excited about this.
So let's start. All right. So we received your process, Eric. You did a great job mapping it. He mapped 3 of them: new podcaster onboarding process, the new campaign launch, and the new lead process. All of them has great possibilities of getting improved using Pipedrive and maybe other technologies. We have chosen the new lead process. So what we did was to organize this beautiful map that he did, and we have put it the way we normally do when we improve process. We put the as-is process from left to right, and then the to-be process to see the improvements and the changes we are going to have in the process. So let me zoom out. I'm going to review his process, and we are going to see how we can improve it on using Pipedrive. So what Eric does first is he receives a call booked from his lead. He does a discovery call, then he records information in Notion. He creates a file for a company in Google Drive, and then he makes a copy of the influencer rate sheet, selects a podcaster for campaign, calculate the sponsorship fee, make a copy of the podcast Google slide deck, and update the proposal template with campaign details, create a PDF version, and send the client this proposal PDF. So we see that there is a lot of copy pasting and a lot of manual work from Eric's side. So we are going to review now the to-be process using Pipedrive. All right, I'm going directly to Pipedrive, and here we have built a pipeline, Eric's pipeline. And actually, on Pipedrive, we can book a meeting. We don't need to use Calendly. And Pipedrive has a sort of a scheduler inside Pipedrive where a client can choose when he wants to meet with Eric. He's going to book the meeting, and the meeting is already booked. And now we are seeing here already the lead in the first stage.
This is really cool.
All
There's
right?
different stages that I can see this in. I'm already getting excited. Okay.
Well, your first stage is meeting booked. In your as-is process, you said that you update information in Notion. So right now you don't have to copy paste it from Calendly to Notion because the information is already here. You see Carla from Agilisa is here, so you just double click and then you are going to this deal, and you can now see that you have here the meeting already booked, and you can join. I mean, you can install Google Meet. In my case, I have Zoom meeting, but if you click here, you're going directly to the meeting on the day of the meeting.
Is your mind blown already?
So what do you
Eric?
think?
No, yeah. Well, the whole flow, like the different stages, this is what I definitely don't have right now. And just to see it all in one place, one location, I'm excited. Meeting booked. This is cool.
Kelly, what do you think about this improvement?
Oh yeah, I'm all for improvements, Carla, and I think one of the things that's great about what you're showing here is not only the pipeline and the visual aspect of it. So you've got a Kanban board where you can move deals from one stage to another, talking about the scheduler, it means that you don't have to have an extra piece of tech. You don't have to be paying for Calendly. You can have that scheduler all integrated, and it works with everything. Works with your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar, if depending on which one you're using, and definitely means that you've got everything in one tool. But what is important to mention here is that, again, depending on budget and affordability, basically the 3 plans that we would be looking at would be essential, advanced, and professional. And I can show you the prices a little bit later on, just to kind of recap on these things. But the scheduler is only available on the advanced plan and higher. So you would have to be paying for that. I think it's like around £39 a month, dollar prices and euro prices, obviously, to take into consideration there. And you would then have to decide, okay, well, if I wanted to have other automations on top of that, then maybe the scheduler, you can kind of combine that with activities and trigger off automations from that. So you wouldn't have to use something like Calendly. But if, depending on how complex your process got later down the line, you could think about using something else if it was necessary. But, the thing to bear in mind here is that you've got integrated features into it in Pipedrive without you having to pay for an additional tool. And for anybody who has been watching this and watching our other episodes, we have got another episode where we talk about Pipedrive Scheduler versus other calendar tools. So it's worth checking that out.
I am just adding here information about your lead, what you do in Notion now. You are adding information before the meeting and after the meeting, which you can already do here, right? The source of your lead and many other information. All right, we move to the next improvement.
So Eric, what do you think about what you've seen so far?
Well, I'm pretty excited because I could get rid of one tool, and that's obviously cost that I would be saving. Because with Calendly, there's nothing saved inside the platform. I mean, it's just a scheduling tool. Whereas this, I can go back and think, how many calls did I have for this period, right? How many of those did I close? And the information that I could be recording, it goes back into, it's already there. It's already inside the platform. I don't have to enter anything new into another platform. So pretty excited already. And excited to see what else that the tool can do.
There's more.
All right, so let's keep seeing. All right, so next step, podcaster selection. Imagine that you already had your meeting, and now we are going to select the podcaster. So we move to this stage, we enter here, and we have built a small library of your products, which are your podcasters that you already hunt, right? So we have this amazing podcast, KNC, right? You can actually put the price at a discount, put taxes, add notes. I'm going to add this one too, and yeah, maybe 2. And then just save. Here you have the amount. And I save. Now you have here 2 podcasts, so 2 products and the amount. This is a small demo about this. It's just that. But we think that you can build a beautiful library here on products. Right now we have only 3, but with the time, I mean, you're going to start building this library, and actually you can customize many information about each of your podcasters. Each of these has a profile. And here we have a description and many other customized fields that you could add.
Okay.
Kelly, do you want to add something about this?
One of the benefits here, Eric, is the fact that you can then have all your data in one place. You can customize it to what you need. So you can add in those custom fields that Carla is talking about, to be able to segment that data as well, and then be able to search for different things. So, when you've got 100 podcasts or 200, 300 podcasts or whatever in your product library, is going to be really easy for you to add all of that into the deal so that you can then move on to the next step, which we're going to talk about. So how's that kind of looking to you now so far?
It looks really interesting. So on that note, can you tag each product? So if I wanted to tag different podcasts, like maybe this podcast was more geared toward tech founders, and another podcast was geared toward B2B marketers. Can you tag each product different? And what I'm getting at is, if you were to utilize the search functionality, only those products would show up.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you can build here a code and start, for example, building here category one, for example, and then categorize them. Actually, you have here also categories of your products to start categorizing them. And what I see that many other salespeople does is to start adding products
Yeah.
by category. I mean, but here you can type, for example, category one,
Yeah.
and you see it's coming. I mean, the data is he's starting to filter by name. So this is a good practice to put in your product names all the details so you can
Yes.
filter easily when you select them.
Yes.
And another cool thing, yeah, it's really cool. Another cool thing to mention is that you see that you've got that little box there. You can actually add descriptions in. So if you wanted to add any particular notes for each particular podcast that, maybe you don't want to have extra custom fields for, and you just want some reference material, that's also information that you can pull into proposals later on, which is what we're going to talk about shortly. So you can have that description information in there as well if you wanted to have that kind of like extra stuff.
Yes.
And actually, if you have a new podcast and you want to add it easy, or for example, any other, for example, administration fee, for example, it's very easy just to add it directly here. I mean, you can add products directly from here without having it in your
Gotcha.
product library.
Okay. On the fly.
On the fly, on the go. Yes, exactly. All right. So let's move to the
I
next
like this. And
stage.
the other cool thing real quick is that you can upload an image, because when I'm in Notion and I'm looking for information on a particular podcast, I'm just going by text and scrolling up and down. Whereas image, visual identity for the image is just very rapid, very, very quick. And so that's another plus that I see here.
Yes, and here if you have a big list, you can also filter. You can add custom filters by category, for example, and start seeing only what you want to see.
So you're basically building, in a sense,
Cut.
All right. Oh, okay, don't worry. Okay, I can say it in the next. All right. Gonzalo says that we can go on, and he is going to cut this part. Go ahead. That's good what I was going to say.
Oh yeah. So yeah, another great thing about this is that you're basically in one tool replicating a database. So like in Notion, you might have a lot of your data in a kind of database type situation. You're now having this ability to have all of this information in a database that you can then use for reference for whatever, not just for your pricing and all of that kind of stuff, but there's other stuff that you can have in here.
Yes, I like it.
All right. Let's move to the next stage. All right. So let's build your proposal. So now we have select the podcasters, and we are going to move to proposal creation. We enter here and we have built a template. We go to documents, and here you are going to have your templates, a gallery of templates. This is one, and you can have many, all right? We have built one, and we are going, I have to mention something very important. Pipedrive has built a library in Drive. So you don't have to create a file anymore because Pipedrive is going to do it for you. He's going to build a file for each client every time you create a document. So you don't have to be copy pasting from your template because your template already exists here. So I'm going to click here, use to create a document. I'm sorry, I'm not a designer, so it's not that beautiful. So here you can have a place for the scope, to write the scope, the timeline. And here it comes the great part. Now you have here a quote with the podcast product, with the description, the price. And if you want to have a quantity and discount, you can put it, otherwise delete those columns. But the good thing here is that you have already calculated the investment your client is going to do. And here you can edit all the time, cut whatever you want. And now what you can do also here, I have left an agreement part. So you can sign. You guys can sign later on if you agree on the terms. Because these smart docs, you can use it for request signatures, or in the beginning of the proposal, just share the proposal. We saw that you download a PDF. This is also possible when you click here. Pipedrive is downloading a PDF on your computer, but we prefer to share as a link because Pipedrive track the views of your leads. I mean, how many they open. I click here all the time, every time, because I want to follow up. And Pipedrive notifies me if someone clicked or opened the proposal, which is awesome because I can follow up immediately or call him, right? So now I copy the link. Proposal is there. I go to email. I can have email templates. Here I'm just going to use one of them. Sorry, it's in Spanish, this one. And then I'm going to put here the link and the proposal. And send it. Send it later also. I can schedule for sending later. And it's out.
Boom!
I'm going to get...
Oh my God, Carla.
Yeah.
First of all, there's two other things. This is really cool, but there's two other things that you mentioned that are very, very cool. One is the email templates. Okay. So I do a lot of back and forth where I'm trying to schedule or send an email, and I go into Notion and I go under my scripts, and then I click the little down filter and I copy that script and I go back to Gmail and then I send that out. Right. So if I could have like templates here already, templates, to podcasters, to potential clients or whatever, that is a time saver. The other thing that you mentioned is the signature for agreements. So it's not just the sponsorship proposal that I'm sending out. Whenever I have a new podcaster join, I send him, basically it's a services agreement, and it allows me to buy airtime on his podcast. And I'm always looking for like free tools that I can send agreements and get its signature online, like DocuSign. But I don't want to pay for DocuSign, so I get it for like 2 weeks free, and then I go to like PandaDoc and I use that one for a couple of weeks free, and then I like looking for another one that I can use free. But it looks like I can do the same thing in here. That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to put here I'm just doing it right now. Hello, you can customize all this and click next. And you're going to be asked to sign first and put here, for example, where do I want my client to sign? So I'm going to put myself here and my client,
Oh
which
my
is also
God.
me in this case, here, right? And actually, and then send. And now I'm receiving this by email to sign myself, and then automatically your lead is receiving this agreement.
Love this. Love this. This is a huge, huge time saver, not just for like when I get a lead, but also I can see the benefits when I onboard a new podcaster too, with the whole document exchange and getting their signature on the services agreement. This is great. Really, really great.
Yeah. And I think one of the things to mention here is that it is so easy to set up. In fact, the most difficult part of this whole thing with using smart docs is the designing part that we're, like Carla was saying earlier on. So that is like everything else is, and that's not even difficult. But the point is, you've got this streamlined process, everything is in one place, and it's very straightforward to use and implement in the first place. But again, one thing to mention is that Smart Docs is available, included in the price from professional plan onwards. So again, depending on region, probably I think it's like £64 or something like that. But if you're on a lower price plan, so essential or advanced, you can actually add it as an add-on for, again, pounds 32.50, and whatever currency you're going to be using. So you have to decide, obviously, whether or not you want to pay for the professional plan, get it all included, and you get loads of other features as well, which we won't go into, but things that we've talked about in other episodes. So we'll put some links in so that you can see some of those other things. But in general, pretty cool process.
Yeah, it's a stress reliever, because that is one of the worst things that I hate doing in my business, is getting that services agreement signed through digitally signed from like another podcaster. And it's like, God, I got to go look for a tool to like DocuSign or whatever, because those tools, it's not really worth me paying $20 or $30 a month when I don't really use it that often. But if this is already baked in and I can use it not just for clients and sponsors, but also for my podcasters who are coming into the network, then this is a huge time saver and stress reliever, actually.
Sure. Myself, I have like 30 templates inside Smart Docs. So
Yes.
NDAs, contracts, and a lot of things that you need to be signing and sharing.
Okay, Eric, so the last thing that we haven't covered here is actually creating your podcast slide decks that you're doing manually right now. So I just want to show you a really easy peasy Zap or automation with Zapier that you can create. And in fact, I can just send you the template to it because it's so easy to share. So I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see what this is all about. So this is the Zap, really straightforward, literally 3 steps in it. So we're not going to go into a whole tutorial here about Zapier, but essentially we could trigger this based on that deal moving into the proposal created stage. So we have that as our stage, our Zap trigger. And then basically what we'll do is we'll extract data from Pipedrive as part of the Zap and create a presentation in a Google Slides document, which I've just again, this is not any fancy design. I just want to show you how this works. So you'd basically add in any information that you want, and then you put this kind of format in with 2 curly brackets at the beginning, a bit of text in the middle, and 2 curly brackets at the end. And what this does is when you have your Zap here, you can customize it so that you name it in a particular way. So in this case, I'm just as if this was a test deal, solve a podcast lead, for example. I've used the deal title and podcast slide deck at the end. And this is my presentation template, which is actually renamed something different now. But let's see if that is going to bring up a different name now. So it should refresh eventually. Well, it should refresh, but never mind about that. And then I'm going to name this field here that we've got here in the curly brackets. This is the field that's actually been brought through from this template. So I've mapped in my name, and then if I tested it, this is one that I did earlier, you can see that this is what gets created, so that you can see that I've customized it based on, that is the name, that's Kelly Goss there, and that's created that, so you can customize it to whatever way you want. And then the next step here is we would, in Pipedrive, have an extra field within there, like you would, we talked about earlier on, where we can customize the deal. So we'd have an extra field in there, say, for example, called, in this case, what have I used? Slide deck template, I think it was, or slide deck. And then what I'm going to do is I can either map in the link to this particular document. So I could actually map in this link. But what I could also do is use a PDF that is linked to this particular step here, which comes from the Google Slides app. And this will push this straight into Pipedrive in this update deal stage. And all you actually have to do when you send your email template is you just have to click on that item there. It will download it to your PC. You can upload it again, or you could have the option of having a link, a shareable link in there instead, rather than the PDF, whichever way would be easier for you. So yeah, that is in summary, like how we can actually just automate that really quickly, which then if we look at your process here, I think in terms of everything that we've talked about, this is pretty much a duplicate from the top here. But what we've cut out with Pipedrive is, and Zapier as the very last part is, you now no longer need to do this manual step. You no longer need to be creating a proposal manually. We're using templates in Smart Docs to do that as very easily. You no longer need to use your influencer rate sheet because we've got all of that information in the products that have been set up. All the rest of the steps we've talked through. And then obviously we've got this part here where we're automating with Zapier to create your slide deck. And this last part where you are having to create a PDF version, etc., and put that into a proposals folder, you don't need to do any of that now, unless you did want to have a Google Drive folder with, details in there, which we can automate on top of that. But you've actually got all of that information there with your Smart Docs document. So we've streamlined the process using Pipedrive. It's much more efficient. And practically here, we've also got the cost element of it that makes it a lot cheaper. So Carla, I don't know if you want to add some info in there about the costs.
No, it's very cheap. I mean, you already say it. But I love this experience of streamline your process. It looks very nice when you see the past and the future, right? How you do it now and how can you do it immediately if you start using Pipedrive?
I mean, what I see is like the opportunity to be able to focus more on my business instead of working in the business. And it's just going to be able to remove a lot of different steps and save me a lot of time and stress of having to do all these different steps, using these different tools, and just have everything centralized in one platform. So this is great. I'm excited for the trying to get this thing implemented and seeing, what else I can do, what else that it can do.
So Eric, I think we've had a great time today. I know I have, definitely. I think we've had a lot of fun. And what we've kind of done here is look at your process, see how we can put that into Pipedrive and translate that into a better way of working for you and streamline things for you and save you some money in the long run, make things more efficient. And what we're planning to do next is, if you're up for it, of course, in a few months' time, because this is the last episode in this season of KNC Sales Tech Talk, what we want to do is check in with you when we start season 2 and see how you've been getting on with the things that we've been suggesting and seeing how much you love it, because I know you're going to love it. So that's the plan.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
Good stuff. So yeah, and Carla's in as well. Yeah. So with that being said, thanks for joining us today, and it's been awesome. Carla, do you want to say anything in wrapping up, and then we can...
Thank you, Eric. It was amazing to work with your process, and I'm sure that you're going to have a great to-be process with Pipedrive. So see you the next time.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're very welcome. See you next time.
Bye-bye, you guys.